It was a stormy Thursday night in the quiet town of Cedar Grove, nestled in the hills of Oregon. Thunder rolled across the sky like distant drums, and sheets of rain pounded the streets as winds howled through the trees. Most of the town had already lost power hours ago, but Mercy General Hospital, the only major medical facility for miles, was supposed to be different. It had generators, backups, and contingency plans. But at 11:47 p.m., something went wrong. The hospital was suddenly plunged into complete darkness. Emergency lights flickered, then faded. Alarms began to beep uselessly before falling silent. The ER was thrown into chaos. Nurses shouted, trying to find flashlights. Doctors scrambled to stabilize critical patients in the ICU, where life-saving machines powered down without warning. Ventilators stopped. Monitors went black. For patients who depended on electricity to survive, every second now counted. In the main hallway, Dr. Ellis, the head of trauma, was barking orders into the void. "Where's backup power? Get maintenance down here now." But the maintenance chief had gone home hours earlier. With no tech team on site, panic was taking over. Just then, a young woman appeared, soaked from the rain, her boots muddy and her dark hair plastered to her face. She wore a grease-stained hoodie and carried a backpack that clinked faintly with tools. "Can I help?" she asked, her voice steady but urgent. A security guard blocked her path. "Ma'am, this area is restricted." "I know," she said, stepping closer, "but your backup generators aren't kicking in. I've worked on units like these before. If you don't let me in, people are going to die." Nurse Cara, holding a flashlight in one hand and trying to restart a portable oxygen unit with the other, overheard and looked at her. There was something in the young woman's eyes. Not fear, but calm determination. "Let her through," Cara said. The security guard hesitated, then stepped aside. Without waiting, the young woman rushed toward the generator room in the basement. It was pitch black down there. Only the occasional emergency light flickered weakly along the corridor. She unzipped her backpack, pulled out a headlamp, and got to work. The generator was an older model, poorly maintained. She moved with practiced ease, checking fuel lines, battery status, and control panels. Within seconds, she found the fault: a burned-out relay switch and a flooded electrical panel. She worked fast, hands moving over wires and switches, using parts from her kit to bypass the failed components. Upstairs, the hospital was in limbo. The ER staff held their breath, listening to the rain hammering the windows, hoping the power would return in time. The silence was suffocating. Then at exactly 12:06 a.m., the lights flickered back to life. A low hum filled the halls. Machines beeped, ventilators hissed back into motion. Cheers erupted from every corner of the building. Nurses wept. Doctors breathed sighs of relief. The young woman walked upstairs, unnoticed at first, until Cara spotted her near the entrance. "You did that?" she asked. The woman gave a small nod. "What's your name?" She smiled faintly, tightening the straps on her backpack. "Just a mechanic," she said. And before Cara could say anything else, she slipped out the door and disappeared into the rainy night. No one got her name. No one knew where she came from. But that night, in a town swallowed by darkness, a stranger walked in and saved dozens of lives, then vanished like a ghost. The next morning, the town of Cedar Grove woke up to headlines that read like fiction. "Mystery mechanic saves hospital during blackout," one paper read. "Angel in overalls vanishes after heroic rescue," said another. By noon, the story had spread beyond state lines. News crews parked outside Mercy General Hospital, eager to get a statement, a name, anything. But no one could give them an answer. Security footage showed only a blurry image of a young woman in a hooded sweatshirt and work boots walking into the building. She wasn't in the hospital's employee database, wasn't a patient, and hadn't signed in. There was no trace of her. Nurse Cara gave a short interview. "She just showed up and knew exactly what to do. I don't know how or why, but without her, we would have lost people. She didn't want recognition, just fixed it and disappeared." That alone sparked the curiosity of Ben Callahan, a local freelance reporter with a history of chasing strange stories. Something about this mechanic didn't sit right with him. Not in a suspicious way, but in the way that begged for answers. He started digging, going frame by frame through security footage, enhancing her image, tracking down every possible lead. For days, he got nothing. Then he saw something in one of the frames, a patch on her backpack, partly obscured but just visible enough to read. It said, "Turner's Garage," an old mechanic shop that had burned down 5 years earlier in a town 100 miles away. That garage had belonged to a man named David Turner, known in the area for training young engineers and taking in foster kids. The fire that destroyed the shop was ruled accidental, but David and his wife had died in it. Their adopted daughter, Riley Turner, had gone missing the same night. Authorities believed she either died in the fire or ran away. She would have been 16 then. Ben's heart pounded. Could this be her? He found an old photo, Riley at 15, wearing a greasy jumpsuit and holding a wrench, smiling shyly at the camera. The face was younger, but the eyes, they were the same. Quiet, focused, capable. Ben contacted the authorities, but with no fingerprints or clear ID, it was impossible to confirm. Still, he published the story. Is the mystery mechanic actually Riley Turner? Online forums exploded. Some said it was Herm. Others said it was just a good story. But one comment stood out, posted anonymously. She didn't die. She left because the world took everything from her. She only comes back when people need her most. More sightings followed in the weeks after. A broken-down ambulance fixed mysteriously in Montana. A rural clinic in Arizona suddenly regaining power after its solar grid failed. Each time, the story was the same. A quiet young woman in a hoodie fixing something no one else could, then vanishing. No interviews, no demands, no fame. It was as if she didn't want to be found, only to help and disappear before the world could ask too many questions. Some began calling her the ghost mechanic. Others compared her to a guardian angel. But for those whose lives she touched, she wasn't a ghost. She was real, and she mattered. Back in Cedar Grove, Nurse Cara kept a photo of her on the staff bulletin board, just under a handwritten note. If you ever see her again, tell her thank you. But no one ever did, and somewhere out on a rain-slick highway, a young woman rode a battered motorcycle west, a backpack full of tools strapped to her shoulders, ready to fix the next thing the world broke.